we have our local resident, George Iddon here to talk about the celebration of Burning Man. And here he is.
Well, Gene, you didn't mention about how I was going to dress tonight when I told you about some hints.
You didn't ask me about that.
Okay, who am I? My name's George Iddon, live in Point Roberts, and I'm a burner for 13 years. So what does that mean? That's what I'm here to tell you. So Burning Man 101 is basically what we're going to do. It's a journey to the desert from Point Roberts, Washington, all the way down to Black Rock City, which is 100 miles north of Reno, Nevada. And every year, 70,000 people congregate at Black Rock Desert and creates a city for approximately 9 days. Afterwards, we pack up and we leave no trace that we were never there at all. So it takes around 15 hours of driving to get there. It's not too far. The average age is 34. You might think that it's a young man's or young person's game, but it isn't. It's the average age is 34. 72%, this is all from our census, is they have a bachelor's degree or higher. That might be of interest to somebody thinking, what is this Burning Man festival about? These weirdos, but not quite there. 80% are from the United States, from all 50 states. 20% are from around the world. 7.9% of people that go to Burning Man are Canadians. You might not think that the Canadians, but they do go down heavily and ask the people at Peace Arch on the way down on the 3rd week of August, where are you going? So, that's basically where we are to where we head. And we'll go next. Larry Harvey was the founder, if you will, of Burning Man. He passed away last month. He was only 7 years of age. And he and a group of people, Jerry James and Mr. Law, got together at Baker Beach in San Francisco in 1986 and went down. They had a 7-foot man, and after the 3 days they burnt him. And they said, well, geez, this was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of other people that were interested, so why don't we come back here and do it again? Well, because it was 7 feet, and it had to grow and grow and grow. Until 1992, when the police said, no more burning on Baker Beach. So then they said, well, where are we going from here? So they sent out little feelers and ended up in Black Rock Desert. And so that's where it's been held ever since. Let's go into our next one. We have 10 principles, but I'm just going to go through 5 of them here. Radical self-expression. I'm expressing myself here right now. If I got someone to smile, which I seem to think, that's my gift to you. Okay, I'm giving you a gift. It doesn't have to be monetary at all. It's just you're looking and say, that's a cool hat, or this is there, I got that at Goodwill before it went to India. So that's our radical self-expression. Communal effort. We all get together. We, individuals, come together and build this city. And so we're a collective of a community. And so that's exactly what we're doing, but we're in a cooperation. We work together to build something. We don't have a lot of different jobs. We're just individuals that will get together and produce something. produce and protect the social networks. Civic responsibility. Basically, we're building things for ourselves, but we're looking after our neighbors. So when we build something, piece of art or something like that, you can climb on it, you can do everything, but we try and make sure that you don't fall off it. So you can, that's one of the nicer things about Burning Man, anything that's there is for you, the participant. So, but we do try and be responsible. We have police, we have medical equipment. There's so many people that volunteer under the medical. We have helicopters, airports, so that if you do get into trouble, physically, we can help you out as collective. Leave no trace. That's something that we bring back, burners bring back every year on leaving no trace. And that's has stayed with us, Julie and I, for forever. We see something, it doesn't matter if it doesn't belong to us. If it's a pop bottle, we see it on the side of the road, pick it up. Leave no trace that you were there. It's just something that is built in to us, I guess, as burners. So that's basically 5 of the 10 principles that we go by. Next. Truth is beauty. There is a piece of art, but I'd like you to just see the people. That's Julie. Purple hair. Look at the size of the feet there. It's just amazing. That statue is 55 feet high. It's all made out of metal. And it's called, Marc Contrain is the artist. And it's the second of 3 metal pieces of art. And it's a woman that is standing on her toes. She's reaching up, arms stretched, head back, in radical self-acceptance of herself. That was what the artist was trying to portray. And so you can just look at her for a while and just see what she's trying to express, and he's expressing that to us, the community. Transportation. We're on a flat, dry bed of a lake. In August, it's all dry, and it's called playa. That's called the playa. And basically, you get around on bicycles or what we would call mutant vehicles. If you've seen my mutant vehicle on the 4th of July parades here, I built a motorized coach, and that's how I get along on the desert.
It is.
So that took a few years, and from that, I learned to weld. Someone gifted me a couch, and then Julie is, well, what are we going to do with this couch? And the next thing you know, tinkering in the garage and asking friends, how do I weld things together? So it took me actually 3 months of just thinking about this and how to get it through the border. Because it was so, how was I going to build it? Was I going to take it apart and then bring it sideways, or was I able to get it through the yellow pillars this way? As it turned out, I just made it by an inch. So that it went down pretty close to the way it was as a couch. By an inch. So there's an example of someone, it's not, there was another lady that I really liked, but she was dressed similar to that. But that's basically how you get around. Now in the background, you'll see what you call that is called a mutant vehicle. A mutant vehicle is, you have to present to Burning Man itself an idea of what it has to be so radical, so unusual that they judge it. They judge it by the plans you send to them. They still don't give you a license. Then once you're there, you get a day license and a night license. So in the day license, they're looking at the safety aspects, the tires, egress, and getting in and out of the vehicle safely. And then you bring it back at night, and it has to be radically lit. And we're talking really well lit, so you can see this for miles. So there's ships, there's Grand Poobah, which is an octopus, flames, propane, and you will go to the site because this is something you need with visual. Next. That's center camp. There's only two things you can buy at Burning Man. Ice and coffee. And that's where you can get your coffee, at center camp. And over there, later on, you can have a look to see how the city is built. I don't have that much time to do that. But we have stages here, we have platforms, people get married at the center camp, and again, you can buy a coffee. If you notice on the picture, there's so many people all on their bicycles. There's lots of bikes racks, and you can go in there. It's open 24 hours a day. The city does not shut down. In fact, the city starts picking up when the sun goes down. And the sunrises are absolutely fantastic. So just going to be up around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to get that. Next. Burning Man 2013 Cargill Cult. Every year, Larry Harvey would come up with next year's theme. So in this particular case, he came up with Cargill Cult. Well, Cargill Cult was basically a group of natives living on a small island just off the Philippines. And during the Second World War, they saw the Americans coming in with airplanes and lots of goodies. So they thought this fellow, John Frum, was a god bringing all the things. So that's why Larry had decided to say, let's have a theme based on Cargill Cult. So it looks a little bit spacecrafty, and there's the man. And I'll just give you a little description of the man. He's completely lit up with neon, and when his arms rise on Saturday night, 70,000 people go absolutely crazy because they know we're going to burn him very shortly. And before that, all around the man will have 600 fire performers that do hoops, stilts, everything to do with fire. And then we light the man. There he is. There is Burning Man. And there was a question one time on the internet, do you really burn a real man? No. We build that fellow there, and he's made out of wood. Most of it is recycled. They ensure that nothing hits the playa. Underneath that burning structure right now is completely covered so that when it all goes to ashes, we leave no trace. You will not know that that man burned at that location when we leave the desert. We vacuum it up. If there's nails, we have a little machine that's magnetic and takes all the nails out of it. And here, you can't quite see, but his arms are gone. But he had raised his arms just before he got burned. So that's a Saturday night. Now, what do you think we do on Sunday and during the week? The temple. That's at the farthest point from center camp. You have center camp, you have the man, and then you continue on to the temple. Every year, someone else designs the temple, and if you take a look at the intricacy there, it's just an amazing piece of work. People get that done for that 1 week and put that together. And that Sunday is a completely different day than Saturday. people are quiet, they're more reserved. No one tells them to be quiet. No one says you should be reserved. The essence, the spirituality, if you will, is there. If your dog died or someone in your family, if you had some issues, you could go to the temple and you can write on that temple whatever you want. They give you a pen, you can bring your own pen, you can leave pictures, you can do whatever you like. It's the individual. And you put it there. So there's a lot of people that are quite sad going in there during the week. And it's just a completely different feel on Sunday. So what do we do on Sunday? We burn the things. So, you say, why would you do that? All that junk, whatever you were carrying with you, you wanted to have it released. What better way to release it than to have it burnt? So that's what we do on Sunday. So even though it's called a temple burn, it's called Burning Man because of the Saturday, but it's also a time of reflection on Sunday. So that's what we ended up doing there. And our next one. We have theme camps. Once you've been to Burning Man, you're going to want to bring something to the community the second time you're around, or the third, or the fourth, or the 15th, or the 16th. So in this particular case, someone brought a post office. And it's an international post office. So what they've done is they've gone over to Gerlach, Nevada, rented a post office box, and tells the people through the drums and the internet what that post office box is. So you, in here, could send me a little care package. If I told you to send it to Gerlach Post Office 164, and I forget the zip code, you could actually send it to me. Then collectively, somebody might come by the post office and said, well, do you have any mail for me? And I said, well, no, we don't have any mail. And then he'll come back and say, well, where are you going? And he'll say, well, I'm going at 3 o'clock on Charlie. Well, I've got some mail there. Would you like to deliver it? So he'll go in the back and look at the grid and say, okay, here's some mail. And then we go and deliver it. Well, the number of people that you find and trying to find that individual, that's your whole day. It's so much fun. Because you say, oh, where's Charlie? Well, he was over there, and, well, he might be over, I don't know, but I've got this letter. So if you can really trust him, this fellow might take it, and hopefully Charlie will get it. So we've done that a few times, and we've had success with we've had all sorts of unique gifts being sent to us. Now, you know postal workers, and you know them sometimes as they go postal. Well, here they have a chance to go postal, because if you take a look at the postal worker in here, he's giving you a signal. He can do that. So anyway, someone took a picture and he said, here's my bird. It's all in fun. It's all in fun. Okay, next. Costumes. I was told that you'd be plain vanilla when you stand up here and do a little TED Talk. But for the most part, we all have costumes. We have something there to offer. So there's a couple that have decided that actually we have a Thunderdome, so they would fit in really well there. And that's basically it, but a little bit, just a tiny tidbit of what Burning Man is all about. So, when you go home tonight, go to burningman.org, look up galleries, and they'll have galleries, they'll have mutant vehicles, they'll have individuals, they'll have theme camps, and then you can go there and also see the 10 principles will be written. Now everyone's excited and wants to go, except for one thing. It's hard to get a ticket. We're talking majorly hard, because the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, limits the number of people that can go onto the land so that we can get it prepared. So at 70,000, the main thing is if you want to go to Burning Man, you have to get on the internet really quickly to be able to buy your ticket. I have just a little short, it's 3 minutes, and we'll give you a little bit of a feel of Burning Man. Thank you for coming. Any questions?
Now, how long does it last?
9 days.
9 days.
Yeah, 9 days. And if you notice, young and old, and everywhere in between. So we actually have kids still. There are a lot. There's actually one theme camp, and that's where all the kids hang out, and they just have a blast. They really have a good time. And most people, you know, I started going to Burning Man when I retired in 2006. So I didn't even know what it was at my retirement age, and so that's why I've been going back ever since. There's something in that desert that keeps drawing me back every year, because I had said I was not going back this year, and I am.
So you need to bring all your food and stuff that you're going to use.
That's where the self-reliance is. Everything, whatever you bring, whatever you need, and you can have a look here. You must bring everything that's on this list. Water, reusable water, food and beverage, first aid kit, sunscreen, warm clothes, dust mask, goggles, rope or tie, emergency toilet paper, hand sanitizers, garbage recycling, duct tape, a must-have, flashlights, lights for your bike. If you don't have a light for your bike when you're running around at night, we call you a dark wad, or a speed bump. So when you've had a really good evening and you're looking up at the stars and you're in the middle of the playa, and you don't have any lights on you, you could become a speed bump. So we always carry extra lights or glow sticks or something. If we see a speed bump, we'll stop and stick that on that speed bump so somebody won't run over it, because they're having a good time. So make sure you're well lit. Good camp tent, portable ashtrays if you do smoke, because nothing can, your cigarette butts, nothing can touch the playa. Prescription drugs, fire extinguisher, and common sense. So those are the things you must bring. These are the, you probably should bring, but you could read that. That'll take you a long time to read that.
George, I'm interested in the art that's there, and some of it appears to be very massive. Do the artists construct that on site? Do they go ahead of the time that you're going to be there?
Burning Man will open on Tuesday of the Sunday opening for early arrivals. So early arrivals, some of that art would come in semi-trucks, and it would be pre-constructed somewhere else, San Francisco, LA, wherever, and then brought in pieces and then reassembled there. There is a ranch that's off from Gerlach, and they build the man every year. So the man, you can see the man in 2013 was on the top of a saucer, and this last year was the first time we've ever covered the man. So the man was actually inside a cupola, and so he wasn't standing up on top. So he burned a little bit differently, and so every year he looks different, and he's neon. One year, his head is orientated to east, so wherever you are in the playa, after a while you get to be able to know where you are geographically. And then they rotated the man's head one time, and we were all confused. We couldn't figure out. And I don't want to be negative on here, but you just have to be prepared. You're in a desert. You can have dust storms. You can have, last year we had heat, something that we never really had or complained about, 85, 90 degrees. It can be cold at night, and it can rain. If it rains, even for 1 or 2, 5 minutes, everything stops. Whenever you're walking, if you had shoes, you would have a platform shoe after 3 walks, because every time you walk, the mud would just come up. If you're riding your bicycle, you get 3 rotations on your bike, on your wheel, and it stops. So everything does stop if it rains. It doesn't rain very often, but it can.
Are you with the theme camp?
This year, yes. I'm with choir camp. So choir camp has been at Burning Man for 15 years. They're out of Seattle, and that's another thing. We have regionals. So if you can't get to the main Burning Man, we have 2 or 3 in Vancouver. We have one in Seattle that's normally in the Mount Vernon area. Portland has got a great regional, and that's called SOAK. And you can find all the regionals there. 12,000 people gather in Cape Town, South Africa, for their burn. Israel has got 5,000. So the regionals are all over the world also. But in fact, we sent some clothing a few years back to Antarctica because they were having a regional burn in Antarctica. And we sent the box 4 months ahead of time so they would have things to have the Burning Man with.
So I used to live, I still have a place down there, like a couple of blocks from, in West Oakland, American Steel Studios, which is where the woman resided for, I don't know, at least 6, 7, 8 years that I was down there, and they just moved her. Yeah. So American Steel Studios, someone asked about the artwork. That's where a lot of the artwork gets pre-constructed at American Steel Studios. And they, you have engineers, you have techies, you have artists all collaborating in this space, and they rent, it's a giant warehouse. It's a welding warehouse, as well as, half it's a welding warehouse, and then the other half it's rented out to burners, and they have this slot where they have their art car, or their mutant car, and Love Potion, the Ducks were there, and Love Potion is basically a school bus converted into a potion bottle, and you go up back to the back of the thing, and there'd be a stage on top. The dragon that you have, I think it was in the picture or video, yeah, that's constructed there. Yeah, and it lives there, and they're just upgrading it every year. Yeah, finding new ways.
My coach was year 4. And year 4, they said it wasn't radical enough. So I had to go and really relight it and maybe even take off the couch and put something else on the frame. They're very stringent on how radical it is. You have to have an audition to be able to make an art car. The beauty of the art car driving across the playa. My favorites every year, there was 8 muffins, and inside there was an electric motor, a little steering wheel, a battery, and there was a cherry on top, and that was what the little muffin driver had on their top, and all this little sprinkles, and these guys just drove all over the desert. So just imagine seeing muffins driving across the desert. So that, whatever your imagination is.
Probably about the size of the lectern.
Yes.
The height.
We, after Katrina in 2005, after Burning Man, burners got together, took every piece of wood that was still workable, took it apart, put it on flatbed trucks. We got 5 flatbed trucks, and went to Katrina to help rebuild. At that point, they said, we've got to do this again. So we have now got Burners Without Borders. And we, in the Vancouver area, the first Saturday of every month, we go to Oppenheimer Park and we feed the disadvantaged, around 350, 400 grilled cheese sandwiches and bananas and cakes and just there. And then we bring our clothing that hasn't gone to India yet, and we bring it there and seasonally, and we'll give them a t-shirt. And what's very interesting is the people that are there really enjoy toiletries. So if you're a traveler and you travel a lot and you're in hotels, and I live here, I'd be more than welcome to take your toiletries of, shampoos and bars of soap and little things you can get in the hotel, toothbrushes if the hotel offers you that, and we will gladly bring that down to Oppenheimer Park the first Saturday